Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly felt drained, uneasy, or even anxious without knowing why? You might have assumed it was your mood or perhaps something you ate, but the truth is far deeper. It could be the color surrounding you. Colors are not merely a matter of personal taste or interior design. They are silent influencers that speak directly to your mind, body, and spirit. Every shade you choose in your home is sending a signal to your nervous system, shaping your emotions and even affecting your physical health. The psychology of color isn't just a theory, it's a science backed by both spiritual insight and medical understanding. When we surround ourselves with colors, our brains interpret them as emotional frequencies. Light colors like white, blue, or soft green are like a deep breath for the soul. They calm the heart, steady the pulse, and open the mind. On the other hand, darker shades, particularly black when used excessively, create a psychological weight that presses on the subconscious. It absorbs energy, light, and attention, making the atmosphere heavier and less breathable. You might not notice it right away, but over time, that environment begins to affect your thought patterns, your sleep cycle, and even your motivation. This is why many people feel mentally cluttered or emotionally stuck in rooms with overpowering dark tones. Their environment is quietly whispering fatigue into their spirit. Science supports what the spirit has long revealed. Studies in environmental psychology show that color exposure can directly influence the brain's production of chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, the hormones that regulate mood and energy. When your surroundings lack brightness, your brain perceives less light, leading to reduced serotonin levels, which are linked to feelings of depression, anxiety, and fatigue. The opposite happens in well-lit spaces filled with bright, reflective colors. Serotonin in levels rise, stress decreases, and overall well-being improves. It's the same reason hospitals, wellness centers, and peaceful retreats often use white and soft hues. They subconsciously tell your mind that healing and calm are present. Think about this. God created the world in color, and every color carries divine purpose. The green of the grass rejuvenates, the blue of the sky refreshes, and the golden rays of sunlight energize the body. Creation itself is a symphony of colors designed to heal, inspire, and balance. When you choose to fill your home with colors that reflect light, you are aligning yourself with God's original design for creation, a life full of vibrancy and harmony. But when you fill your space with darkness, you are unintentionally building emotional and spiritual barriers against that design. You begin to live in a tone of shadow, and your health, mental, emotional, and spiritual, starts to feel the weight of it. Many people underestimate how their environment affects their energy. Imagine spending your mornings in a dark, colored kitchen. Before your day even begins, your brain has already received signals of low energy and suppression. But if you step into a bright, warm, well-lit space, your mind wakes up, your body feels active, and your spirit feels alive. It's not just the coffee that energizes you, it's the color story your environment tells. In the same way, your bedroom should not be drenched in colors that steal your peace, but instead filled with gentle tones that comfort your spirit and invite restful sleep. Colors do more than fill walls, they shape atmospheres. A light-filled home breathes life into you. It encourages clarity, reduces emotional clutter, and uplifts your heart. A dark home, on the other hand, can create emotional shadows, the kind that make you feel disconnected, weary, or uninspired. If you often find yourself struggling with mood swings, irritability, or lack of motivation, it may not be a personal weakness, it could be your surroundings draining your psychological energy. This is why even in ancient times, priests and healers understood the sacred power of color. They used it in garments, temples, and rituals because they knew color could either invite peace or repel it. Modern science now echoes what was already spiritually known, that your eyes are the gateway to your emotions. What you constantly see becomes what you inwardly feel. When your environment reflects brightness, your mind mirrors it. You begin to think clearer, breathe deeper, and experience a stronger sense of spiritual balance. So if you want to improve your mental health, emotional stability, and even spiritual connection, start by paying attention to the colors that surround you every day. Remove those heavy energy, absorbing tones, and replace them with shades that breathe hope and healing. It's not just decoration, it's transformation. Because when light enters your home, it doesn't just brighten your walls, it brightens your soul. The psychology of color is the silent medicine God placed in creation. It heals without a pill, it restores without a prescription, and it uplifts without a sound. All you have to do is let the light in, and your health body, mind, and spirit will begin to reflect the peace you were created to live in. Have you ever noticed that when sunlight streams into your room, you suddenly feel more awake, more alive, and even more hopeful? That's not just imagination, it's evidence of how light and energy shape your well-being in ways you can't always see. The same God who said, "Let there be light," embedded in that light the power to heal, restore, and energize everything it touches. The design of creation itself teaches us that life and health are impossible without light. Just as plants need the sun to grow, your body, mind, and spirit need brightness to thrive. But what happens when your home is filled with darkness, heavy curtains, or colors that absorb instead of reflect light? Slowly, without even realizing it, your energy begins to drain, your emotions become heavier, and your spirit feels distant from peace. The way light moves through your home determines the way energy moves through your life. When your home is bright, your thoughts are lighter, your mood stabilizes, and your physical body functions more harmoniously. But when your space feels dim, cluttered, or dominated by dark tones, it begins to act like a spiritual vacuum, pulling energy inward, stifling creativity, and dulling emotional sensitivity. God designed light to move, to flow, to reach every hidden place. That's why stagnation in your environment often reflects stagnation in your inner life. When the flow of light stops, the flow of energy, clarity, and divine inspiration stops too. In the world of health and psychology, light is often described as the most natural antidepressant available. When your skin and eyes receive natural sunlight, your body produces serotonin, the feel-good chemical that stabilizes mood and promotes a sense of happiness. But in dim or dark environments, your brain receives a signal of gloom, prompting the release of melatonin, the hormone that induces sleep and fatigue. Over time, this imbalance can lead to chronic tiredness, low motivation, and even depression. That's why people who live in constantly dark rooms often find it hard to stay productive or joyful. Their environment is telling their body it's time to rest, even in the middle of the day. Spiritually, light represents God's presence. It's no coincidence that Scripture refers to him as the Father of lights and describes Jesus as the light of the world. When you block out light from your surroundings, you're not just creating physical dimness, you're creating an atmosphere where divine energy cannot freely flow. It's like putting a shade over a lamp. The power is still there, but its effect is limited. The brightness that should fill your home and spirit becomes trapped behind layers of unnecessary heaviness. Imagine stepping into a home where every window is open, sunlight dances on the walls, and the air feels alive. You immediately sense something vibrant, something peaceful, something pure. Now contrast that with a room covered in dark paint, thick drapes, and little to no natural light. It feels smaller, heavier, and colder. Your nervous system reacts instantly to both spaces. In the bright home, your body releases endorphins and opens up to positivity. In the darker one, your brain signals alertness and tension, as if preparing to protect itself from emotional weight. You see, light doesn't just illuminate, it communicates. It tells your body whether to wake up or shut down, to expand or retreat, to hope or despair. In energy medicine, light is considered one of the most powerful forms of healing because it restores natural balance. Your eyes are directly connected to your brain's emotional centers, meaning what you see affects how you feel. A bright, well-lit environment tells your body that you are safe, supported, and surrounded by life. Darkness, on the other hand, sends subtle cues of danger or depression, triggering emotional fatigue. This is why people recovering from illness often experience faster healing when exposed to bright, natural light. It activates the body's internal rhythm of vitality and encourages the release of healing hormones. Your home is more than walls and furniture. It's a living environment that mirrors your inner condition. When light flows freely through your home, it creates energy pathways that refresh both your spirit and your body. It helps your mind declutter, your thoughts become clearer, and your emotions stabilize. But when light is blocked by dark walls, closed curtains, or excessive shadow, it doesn't just affect your mood. It alters your entire internal balance. Fatigue sets in more quickly, motivation disappears, and even your immune system can weaken. The body needs brightness just as the soul needs hope. If you ever feel stuck, spiritually dry, or emotionally heavy, start with your surroundings. Open your curtains in the morning, let sunlight flood your living space, and notice how your spirit responds. Rearrange your furniture so that light can reach every corner. Choose wall colors that reflect instead of absorb. You'll feel the difference within days because your environment is directly tied to your emotional health. God never intended his children to live in gloom. He created the day to be brighter than the night because he wanted you to dwell in illumination, both physically and spiritually. It's interesting to note that hospitals, schools, and therapeutic centers all use light as part of their design for healing. Brightness improves cognitive performance, accelerates recovery, and fosters emotional resilience. A study conducted in healthcare environments found that patients in sunlit rooms recovered nearly 25% faster than those in dark ones. That's not just design, that's divine design. Light is medicine, and your home is either helping that medicine work or blocking it completely. Darkness doesn't just steal illumination, it steals energy. It's the quiet thief that makes your home feel smaller and your dreams feel distant. But light multiplies everything it touches. It makes rooms feel open, minds feel active, and hearts feel inspired. In the same way, when you choose to brighten your home, you are choosing to brighten your destiny. You're telling your subconscious mind, I am ready for growth, I am ready for peace, I am ready for blessings to flow again. That shift in energy is powerful. It breaks the cycles of emotional dullness and reignites the spiritual fire within you. So many people live tired without knowing that their environment is silently draining them. They fight fatigue with caffeine, anxiety with medication, or stress with distraction, never realizing that their homes are closing in on them. If the air feels heavy, if your thoughts feel foggy, or if your prayers feel hindered, check the light. Sometimes your breakthrough begins not in your schedule, but in your surroundings. Just as God commanded light to break the darkness in creation, he wants to command light into your living space, into your home, your mind, and your heart. Let every room you live in become a reflection of divine energy. Allow sunlight to fill your mornings and use warm, reflective tones that echo life and hope. The more you allow light to flow, the more your body, mind, and spirit will align with health, peace, and clarity. Because where there is light, energy moves. Where energy moves, healing begins. And where healing begins, the blessings of God can finally flow without resistance. Have you ever stepped into a place and instantly felt peace, warmth, and a sense of calm that seemed to settle deep inside you? Or maybe you've walked into another room and felt uneasy, restless, or suddenly heavy without any logical reason. That invisible difference you feel is not just about furniture, design, or smell, it's about atmosphere. Every color, every object, and every shade in your environment carries a certain spiritual frequency that speaks to your inner world. The colors around you don't just paint your walls, they paint your emotions, influence your spiritual connection, and either open or block the flow of divine presence in your life. Colors are not accidental creations of nature, they are divine expressions of energy. When God created the world, He embedded meaning and life into color itself. Blue reflects peace and the heavenly realm. Green symbolizes renewal and healing. Gold represents divine glory, and white embodies purity and righteousness. But just as there are colors that release light, there are those that can attract spiritual heaviness. The physical realm mirrors the spiritual, and every color you choose in your home becomes a silent invitation to either divine presence or spiritual dissonance. This is why understanding the spiritual connection between color and atmosphere is not superstition, it's wisdom for protecting your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. When your environment reflects light, you subconsciously feel inspired, safe, and spiritually awake. The air feels lighter, your thoughts are clearer, and your heart feels more at ease. But when your space is filled with colors that absorb light, deep blacks, grays, or heavy browns, you begin to notice a subtle shift. You might feel more tired, less creative, or emotionally distant. It's not because of the color alone, but because of the atmosphere it creates. Dark colors tend to draw inward energy, creating a closed or confined feeling, while light colors expand energy, opening space for joy and flow. Spiritually speaking, this mirrors the difference between walking in darkness and walking in light. Darkness conceals, light reveals. Darkness hides, light frees. The same is true for your home. It can either conceal your peace or reveal it. The Bible tells us that God is light, and in Him there is no darkness at all. This truth extends beyond theology. It influences how you build your surroundings. When your environment is bright, balanced, and full of color that honors God's creative design, you are aligning your physical space with His divine nature. But when your space feels dull, lifeless, or overly dark, it creates an emotional atmosphere that can mute your awareness of His presence. Your surroundings start to echo the absence of light rather than the fullness of it. It's not that God leaves, it's that your spirit becomes less sensitive to His peace when surrounded by symbolic representations of heaviness. Psychologists and spiritual healers agree that color has measurable effects on emotional and spiritual well-being. Warm and bright tones lift energy levels, reduce tension, and open the heart, while darker tones can promote introspection, but too much of them can also induce emotional heaviness. Your mind constantly absorbs the vibrations of what it sees. So, if your home radiates light and warmth, your emotions naturally align with that vibration of openness and gratitude. But when your surroundings are consumed with shadow and density, your spirit begins to carry the same tone, sluggish, distant, and uninspired. Imagine your home as a temple, a sanctuary where your soul should rest, rejuvenate, and reconnect with divine peace. If that sacred space is filled with colors that absorb rather than reflect light, your temple becomes a cave instead of a sanctuary. Many people don't realize why they feel so spiritually blocked or why their prayers feel less powerful. It could be because the very environment where they pray is symbolically resisting light. Light invites God's presence, while darkness resists it. The same principle applies to your inner life. What you feed with brightness flourishes, and what you cover in shadow withers. When you walk into a room painted in white or soft gold, your mind feels lighter because those colors represent expansion and purity. When you spend time in an environment filled with natural tones, plants, and brightness, you feel grounded and alive because those colors are connected to creation itself. God designed your senses to respond to beauty, and beauty always reflects His nature. That is why in moments of worship, light plays a significant role. Candles, sunlight, even the glow of a peaceful environment enhances spiritual sensitivity. Light magnifies presence. On the other hand, when you choose to live surrounded by dull, dark, or lifeless tones, you unintentionally create a spiritual echo chamber of silence and stagnation. It's not evil, but it's limiting. You might start feeling anxious more often, your mind may wander during prayer, or your thoughts might feel heavier than usual. That's the spiritual consequence of an atmosphere that does not reflect divine balance. What surrounds you begins to shape you. This is why even the smallest details matter. The color of your curtains, your bedding, your furniture, they all contribute to the unseen energy of your home. Think of your surroundings like your emotional diet. Just as what you eat affects your physical health, what you see and dwell among affects your spiritual and emotional state. A room bathed in light and filled with color that reflects life is like consuming spiritual vitamin. It strengthens your energy, lifts your mood, and helps your prayers flow freely. But a home surrounded by darkness, with heavy or oppressive tones, acts like junk food for the spirit. It fills space but drains substance. The longer you stay in it, the more it begins to shape how you think, feel, and believe. Even modern neuroscience confirms that the brain interprets brightness and color as emotional information. Light tones trigger relaxation in the parasympathetic nervous system, reducing stress and balancing your heartbeat. Dark tones activate alertness and caution, signaling to your body that something is hidden or unknown. This is why it's important to align your physical environment with peace, because your body reacts to it, whether you are conscious of it or not. When your eyes receive light, your spirit receives hope. When your surroundings reflect warmth, your emotions mirror gratitude. There's something powerful about living in an atmosphere that reflects heaven's colors. When your home feels open, bright, and pure, it invites spiritual freedom. You sense God's nearness not only in prayer, but in your daily moments while you eat, rest, or simply breathe. Every beam of light, every gentle color, becomes a reminder that God's presence is near, that His blessings are flowing, and that your space is a vessel of His peace. But when darkness dominates, something shifts. The air feels dense, your emotions feel unclear, and the peace of your home seems harder to maintain. That's not coincidence, that's a reflection of spiritual atmosphere. Darkness hides clarity. It blinds your perception and dulls your awareness of divine activity. God's presence doesn't vanish, but your ability to sense it becomes weaker. When you begin to understand this spiritual connection between color and atmosphere, you start to see your environment differently. You no longer choose colors just for decoration, but for alignment with peace, purity, and divine harmony. Every shade you choose becomes a spiritual statement, I welcome light. I welcome peace. I welcome the presence of God. And that decision changes everything. Your home becomes lighter, your heart calmer, and your entire being more aligned with the flow of divine energy. Light and color are not just visual experiences, they are spiritual languages that speak to your inner world. When your home reflects light, it becomes a living message to heaven, a declaration that you are open to receive blessings, joy, and restoration. Because where there is light, there is life. Where there is color born of God's creation, there is peace. And where peace dwells, the presence of God rests in fullness. Have you ever wondered why some nights you sleep peacefully while others feel endless, restless, and heavy, even when nothing seems wrong? You toss, turn, and stare into the darkness, searching for peace that refuses to come. You might blame stress or a busy mind, but the truth often hides in plain sight. It could be the color surrounding you. The atmosphere of your bedroom is silently shaping the rhythm of your sleep. Your body, your emotions, and even your spirit respond to color more deeply than you realize. The shades on your walls, your bedding, and even your curtains are not just decorative choices. They are silent messengers speaking to your subconscious mind every single night. Sleep is not just a physical act. It is a spiritual and emotional reset. When you close your eyes, your body begins to repair, your mind begins to organize, and your spirit seeks rest. But for that process to flow properly, your environment must support it. God designed rest as a holy rhythm, a time for the body and spirit to recharge under His peace. That's why the wrong atmosphere can interfere with that divine rhythm, no matter how tired you are. Many people don't realize that the colors surrounding them during sleep can either calm the nervous system or activate it. Some shades invite stillness and safety, others stir restlessness and unease. Darker shades, especially those that absorb light, can subconsciously signal danger or heaviness to the brain. Your eyes, even when closed, sense the tone of light in the room. When you're surrounded by deep blacks, dark reds, or heavy grays, your brain's limbic system, the emotional center, interprets that darkness as confinement. It triggers a protective response, increasing alertness when your body should be relaxing. This is why people who sleep in darker, more shadowed environments often report waking up anxious, sluggish, or emotionally drained. It's not only about the lack of light, but the energy those colors project into the atmosphere of the room. In contrast, lighter shades like soft blues, warm creams, and pale greens mirror the calmness of nature and the peace of divine order. They remind your subconscious of open skies, gentle rivers, and the purity of daylight. These colors slow your heart rate, lower blood pressure, and create an emotional signal of safety. When your body feels safe, your spirit releases its tension. Your brain begins to produce melatonin in healthy rhythms, guiding you into deep, restorative sleep. Light colors don't just soothe the eyes, they soothe the soul. Think about this. God created light and darkness for balance, but He never intended for His children to dwell continually in shadow. Darkness was meant for rest, not oppression. Yet when your bedroom absorbs too much darkness, it begins to hold the weight of heaviness instead of the peace of rest. Your spirit, designed to recharge in light's reflection, begins to feel enclosed. This is why many people wake up feeling spiritually heavy or emotionally burdened after sleeping in rooms dominated by dark tones. The atmosphere around them has become spiritually dense, resisting the flow of peace that God intended to fill their nights. When your sleep environment mirrors divine light not by brightness, but by purity, everything about your rest changes. Imagine lying down in a space filled with soft hues that reflect peace, white walls that symbolize purity, light blue that carries tranquility, and touches of gold that speak of divine warmth. These colors communicate restfulness to both body and spirit. Your mind begins to slow its rhythm, your breathing deepens, and your heart aligns with the stillness of peace. It's not just aesthetic, it's neurological and spiritual alignment working together. The connection between sleep quality and environmental color is so powerful that even medical researchers recognize it. Studies show that people who sleep in lighter, colored rooms experience lower stress levels, fewer night awakenings, and improved emotional balance. Their circadian rhythm, the internal clock that governs sleep, stays more stable because their environment aligns with natural light patterns. In darker or overly vibrant rooms, the brain becomes confused, interpreting the environment as inconsistent with natural day-night cycles. This confusion results in shallow sleep, irregular dreaming, and emotional imbalance upon waking. But beyond science, there's a deeper truth. Rest is not simply physical, it's sacred. It is a form of surrender, a declaration that you trust God enough to close your eyes and let Him renew your strength. When your sleeping environment resists that sacred energy, you subconsciously resist rest itself. Your body may lie down, but your spirit remains on guard. The right color palette helps your spirit exhale. It says, you are safe here, you can rest, you are covered by peace. This atmosphere of safety is what allows true restoration to happen. The psychology of rest goes hand in hand with the spirituality of light. When you sleep in a peaceful, bright, and balanced space, you are essentially resting in the atmosphere of God's design. He created you to thrive in light, not to shrink in shadows. Even the dawn itself, the breaking of light after darkness, symbolizes renewal and hope. Your room should echo that same rhythm. Let the place where you lay your head be an altar of peace, not a chamber of pressure. You may not realize it, but the energy of color speaks to your dreams. People who sleep surrounded by soft, reflective hues often report more peaceful, positive dreams, the kind that refresh rather than disturb. But in darker environments, dreams can become more chaotic, mirroring the confusion of the surroundings. It's as if the spirit tries to interpret the energy of the room while the body sleeps. By changing the color atmosphere, you change what your subconscious absorbs while you rest. Think about your room as your nightly sanctuary. It's the place where your body heals, your mind resets, and your spirit listens to whispers of divine peace. What story does your bedroom tell? Does it speak calmness, or does it echo chaos? Does it reflect heaven's serenity, or does it absorb the heaviness of earth? The good news is that you have the power to shift it. Simply introducing colors that reflect light can completely transform your night's rest. Add touches of white, gentle pastels, or natural tones that breathe life into your surroundings. Replace heavy drapes with lighter fabrics that allow softness to flow through. You'll soon notice the transformation not only in your environment, but within yourself. When you wake up in a peaceful, light-filled room, your morning begins differently. Your body feels refreshed, your thoughts feel clearer, and your mood aligns with gratitude. That's because you've allowed your environment to participate in your healing. The same light that God uses to awaken the world each morning has touched your spirit while you slept. You're no longer fighting for rest, you're receiving it. Rest is one of the greatest gifts of creation, yet it's one we often overlook by surrounding ourselves with heaviness. Your sleep environment should be a reflection of God's character, peaceful, radiant, and full of quiet strength. When light tones surround you, you rest not only in physical comfort, but in spiritual safety. The invisible weight lifts, anxiety fades, You wake up not just recharged, but renewed. So the next time you find yourself restless at night, don't only look to your thoughts, look to your surroundings. Let your room preach peace before you even close your eyes. Allow color to minister to your senses, to cradle your mind, and to whisper rest into your soul. Because true rest doesn't come from a perfect mattress or a quiet night. It comes from sleeping in harmony with the light that God designed to restore you body, mind, and spirit. Have you ever noticed how your mood changes when you walk into a bright, colorful space compared to a dark, dull one? That's not coincidence, it's design. The colors that surround you are constantly sending signals to your body and your spirit. Every hue carries its own vibration, and those vibrations influence your energy levels, your emotions, and even your immune system. When the wrong colors dominate your home, especially dark, heavy shades, they don't just change how a room looks. They begin to change how you feel. There's a spiritual science behind this truth. The body responds to color frequencies the same way it responds to sound or light. Certain frequencies uplift and heal, while others suppress and drain. And the moment you understand this, you realize your home is either working for your health or quietly working against it. Think about how often people decorate their homes based on trends or personal taste, never realizing that what they choose could be silently influencing their well-being. A living space covered in dark, lifeless tones absorbs light and energy. It's like a sponge that takes in everything positive and leaves nothing for your spirit to feed on. You may find yourself waking up more tired, feeling less inspired, or even struggling with unexplained stress. This isn't just psychological, it's biological. Studies in chromotherapy or color therapy reveal that color wavelengths directly interact with the body's endocrine system, which regulates hormones. So when your home reflects too much darkness, your body unconsciously interprets that as a signal to produce stress hormones like cortisol. Over time, this subtle imbalance begins to affect your energy levels, mood, and even your immune strength. There's a reason God filled creation with light and vibrant color, from the golden hues of sunrise to the green of trees and the blue of the ocean. Each color carries divine order. These colors don't just beautify creation, they sustain it. Green restores your eyes and calms your mind. Blue lowers your heart rate and steadies your thoughts. Yellow energizes your spirit and invites joy. When these colors are missing from your environment, you're missing an essential part of nature's healing rhythm. Imagine walking every day in a garden filled with gray stones and no flowers. It may seem peaceful at first, but soon your spirit begins to crave vibrancy. That craving is not vanity. It's a reflection of how deeply you were created to live in harmony with the beauty of light. Your environment is more than decoration, it's medicine. Every wall, every curtain, every piece of furniture contributes to the atmosphere your spirit must breathe. Just as the body needs oxygen to survive, the soul needs light and color to thrive. When you allow darkness to dominate your home, your body starts reacting as if it's living in a constant state of dusk-low energy, slow metabolism, and a subdued emotional tone. But when your environment reflects warmth and brightness, your body produces endorphins, serotonin, and other healing chemicals that enhance overall well-being. This is why people feel more alive in open, lit places. It's not just psychological comfort, it's physiological renewal. Let's look at this practically. Imagine two rooms, one painted in dark gray with minimal light, and another bathed in soft white and pastel tones. In the first, your eyes work harder to adjust, your breathing unconsciously slows, and your body's energy drops. In the second, your pupils relax, your mind opens, and your spirit feels uplifted. You may not consciously notice the difference, but your body does. It's reacting to the visual language of the space around you. Colors are more than what we see, they're what we feel. This is why so many people report feeling lighter when they clear clutter or repaint a room in brighter colors. They are not imagining it, they are aligning their environment with divine order, and divine order always brings healing. Your home is meant to be a sanctuary, not a place of suppression, yet many unknowingly create a spiritual atmosphere that blocks flow and peace. When you fill your environment with heavy, light-absorbing colors, you build a kind of visual weight that your spirit carries daily. You might not realize it, but this can lead to fatigue, irritability, or even insomnia. The human brain is designed to thrive in light. God's very first act in creation was to speak light into existence, let there be light, and that wasn't just for the world, it was for life itself. Light is the first medicine, and when we choose colors that reflect it, we allow that same creative power to enter our homes and our bodies. Health isn't only about what you eat or how much you exercise, it's about what you absorb through your senses. When your eyes constantly see darkness, your body interprets that environment as low energy and responds accordingly. You may begin to feel sluggish, overthink simple matters, or even experience physical tension. But when your surroundings are filled with life, giving colors warm whites, gentle blues, natural greens, your body feels safe, open, and ready to heal. This is not just emotion, it's energy alignment. The moment your environment shifts, your energy follows. In spiritual health, we often talk about prayer, meditation, and faith, but your environment is also a silent prayer. The colors you live with declare what kind of atmosphere you're inviting into your life. Are you inviting clarity, peace, and healing, or are you unknowingly opening the door to stagnation, confusion, and exhaustion? The color choices you make are either releasing blessings or resisting them. The human spirit thrives in light, and light cannot dwell comfortably in spaces drenched with darkness. Even traditional healing systems understood this. In ancient cultures, healers used colored light to treat various illnesses: red for circulation, blue for calm, green for balance. They knew that when you align your environment with natural color frequencies, your body naturally begins to repair itself. Modern medicine may use different terminology, but the principle is the same. What you see impacts what you feel, and what you feel becomes what you live. So, if you have been feeling spiritually disconnected, physically tired, or emotionally heavy, take a moment to look around your home. What story are your walls telling? What kind of energy are your rooms holding? You might discover that your environment has been silently working against your well-being. Change the tone and you'll change your health. When light enters your space, healing begins to follow. When you fill your home with bright, natural, and life-filled colors, you open the door to both physical vitality and spiritual renewal. Because true health is not just the absence of disease, it's the presence of peace, and that peace begins with the light you allow to live in your home. Have you ever walked into someone's home and instantly felt peaceful, calm, and uplifted even before a single word was spoken? Or maybe you've entered another space and felt strangely uneasy, tense, or spiritually heavy for no obvious reason. That sensation isn't imaginary, it's real. It's the result of the atmosphere that colors create. Your home is a living space that constantly communicates with your mind, your emotions, and your spirit. It's not just a shelter made of walls, it's an energy field that either attracts or blocks the flow of divine peace. Every color within your home speaks a silent message to your soul, and those messages accumulate, shaping the overall tone of your environment. When the wrong color dominates, especially dark or oppressive tones, it starts to interfere not only with your mood but also with your spiritual alignment. That is why, even in health and wellness, understanding the spiritual energy of color is essential to restoring balance in your life. There's a deep connection between your physical environment and your spiritual health. The space where you rest, eat, and pray should reflect light, clarity, and renewal. But when you fill that same space with dull, heavy, or overly dark colors, you're creating an invisible wall between yourself and the flow of peace that God desires for you. Spiritually, darkness represents confusion, secrecy, and stagnation. It's not about the color black being evil, but about the spiritual vibration it carries when it dominates an environment. It absorbs energy instead of reflecting it. It traps light rather than sharing it. And because light represents truth, hope, and divine presence, a home overwhelmed by darkness can gradually suppress those very qualities in your life. You begin to notice that your thoughts feel clouded, your prayers feel dry, and your emotional balance becomes harder to maintain. From a health perspective, this is more than symbolic. Your eyes, which are direct extensions of your brain, constantly process color and light. When the eye perceives darkness for extended periods, it sends signals to your brain that reduce serotonin, in the chemical responsible for happiness and stability. At the same time, it increases melatonin production, which induces tiredness and lethargy. This imbalance can lead to chronic fatigue, low motivation, and a sense of emotional heaviness. Over time, it doesn't just affect your mood, it begins to affect your overall energy field. You start to carry the same vibration your environment holds. That's why some people feel spiritually disconnected or emotionally numb without realizing that their surroundings are influencing their internal state. Now, imagine a space filled with light, warmth, and color that reflects creation itself, soft whites that symbolize purity, greens that represent growth, yellows that radiate joy, and blues that bring calm. In such an environment, your body relaxes, your breathing deepens, and your mind feels safe. The spirit of peace, the very presence of God, finds a welcoming atmosphere. You don't have to force calmness, it comes naturally. The right environment doesn't fight against your energy, it supports it. That is the beauty of divine order through color. Your home is meant to mirror your inner life, and when your space is in harmony, your soul finds rest. But when that harmony is broken by the presence of colors that block energy, your home becomes spiritually and emotionally noisy. You may start to feel unsettled even when you're not under stress. Your body might be at rest, but your spirit feels restless. That's often the first sign that your home needs a shift, not just in decoration, but in spiritual alignment. Light colors don't just make your house look brighter, they allow spiritual energy to move freely. They reflect hope, grace, and renewal. Throughout history, many spiritual traditions have recognized that color carries divine vibration. In biblical symbolism, light has always represented God's glory and truth. When Moses came down from the mountain, his face shone with radiant light. It was evidence of divine encounter. Similarly, when you fill your home with light, you create an atmosphere where divine encounter becomes possible. Light attracts presence. Darkness conceals it. In a home filled with heavy, dark tones, even prayer can feel laborious because the environment doesn't resonate with spiritual openness. But in a bright, clean, and light-filled space, your prayers rise easily, your spirit feels more connected, and your heart is at rest. That's not superstition, that's spiritual law aligning with psychological truth. The power of color also extends to relationships and communication within your home. Families living in dark, dull spaces often find that tension builds easily. The energy feels stagnant, and people become more withdrawn or irritable. In contrast, homes filled with light tones foster open dialogue, laughter, and connection. When light reflects within your environment, it subtly encourages openness in your spirit. You find it easier to forgive, easier to express love, and easier to feel gratitude. The environment nourishes the spirit, and the spirit, in turn, nourishes the environment. It's a beautiful cycle of harmony that begins simply by allowing light to live in your space. When you understand that your home is more than a physical structure, that it's a vessel for spiritual energy, you begin to make decisions differently. You stop decorating based on trends and start designing with intention. You choose colors that bless your spirit, not just please your eyes. You begin to view your home as an extension of your prayer life, a place where peace can dwell and blessings can flow. And that's when transformation happens. You start to notice that your sleep improves, your stress levels drop, and even your thoughts become clearer. It's not magic, it's alignment. You've aligned your environment with divine design. Even from a health-based lens, light and color affect the body's internal rhythms. Exposure to bright, balanced tones helps regulate circadian rhythms, keeping your sleep cycle stable and your immune system strong. Conversely, living in darker tones disturbs those rhythms, leading to sluggishness and irritability. But when you open your space to natural light, when you fill your home with colors that breathe and reflect joy, your body and mind enter a state of harmony. You start to feel lighter not only emotionally but physically. The body thrives when the spirit is at peace. So, when you think about the color of your home, don't just think in terms of aesthetics, think in terms of atmosphere. Ask yourself, does this color invite light or does it trap it? Does it reflect God's peace or does it create a shadow over it? The colors you choose are not just decoration, they are declarations. They declare what kind of spirit is welcome in your home. When you invite light through color, you are symbolically and spiritually saying, "Let there be light here." And where there is light, there is clarity, healing, and divine blessing. Your home is sacred space. Every wall, every corner, every beam of light has the power to shape the energy that surrounds you. When that space radiates warmth, brightness, and purity, it becomes a sanctuary where peace flows freely. You no longer struggle to find God's presence because your environment itself begins to echo His creation. That is the true harmony of spirit and health, when your surroundings don't just shelter you but bless you. When your walls don't just stand but speak. And when every color in your home reflects the light of divine order. Because when the light reigns in your home, the blessings of God will follow naturally, filling every room with life, healing, and peace.